Hello, everyone, and welcome to the May episode of the SWW Show. It is the 9th episode?
I was going to say it's the 3rd day of May, but okay, so you're going then. Never mind. I was about to correct you.
Yeah, it's the 9th episode. And yeah, as Mike's saying, we're recording this on the 3rd. A couple days later than we actually wanted to, but
I'm
Mike
sorry.
was sick. I don't blame you. I mean,
Trust me, it was literally I got home and I went, good night, everybody.
but yeah, this show, we're gonna do a little live production meeting here. This show is gonna release in 2 sections. One will be the full episode, and one will be just the first part. Because the first part will be talking about stuff that's happening in the news, stuff we've seen, stuff we've played, and then the second half will be our Endgame talk.
So what you're saying is people aren't going crazy when they see basically the same episode twice on their feeds.
Correct.
Here's the production meeting side of this. I think we should release the same episode twice, but on that half that's not spoiling Endgame, we should just have it like as this be opening half the episode again, just to really screw with people.
But yeah, so to kick off the news, probably the funniest story in the news right now is Borderlands 3.
Oh, fucking...
There's actually 2 stories. I only wrote down one, but I was reminded of the second
For
one.
the record, it looks good. I'm gonna start with whatever we're about to say is the game looks good, and you know I'm gonna play it. Continue with what you're about to say.
Here's the thing: the Borderlands style is hard to mess up.
The Borderlands style, I also think it's a formula as much. It's formula that either you like it or you don't. I think it's very much a set in stone formula in that regard.
Well, would you rather talk about a voice actor or shady business practices?
Let's go with shady business practices because there's a lot of that going on around.
Oh, I didn't even include the Mortal Kombat stuff.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about that considering it's somewhat personal for me.
Yeah. So, according to Randy Pitchford, I have to preface that statement with that because, according to him, Borderlands 3 does not have microtransactions.
But it does have small purchases that are not part of the gameplay.
It has, yes, small purchases that you can make that are non-gameplay related. In other words, they're not microtransactions.
But they're macrotransactions?
They are... I saw so many different names for it. They are tiny purchases. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna...
Obviously, Mike, you're going to play Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
You know my stance. If I play it...
Oh, because I make you play
it yeah.
So I'm gonna say the thing, and it's gonna be the somewhat defending, and I think the statement as a whole is idiotic. I'm gonna defend when he went into the first half of the tweet storm before the second half got crazy, of him explaining what he was trying to say, and I think it was a bad communication stance. He was going through the idea that it wasn't microtransactions in the sense of, because it was the non-gameplay things. And to be fair, the correct way to have sold the microtransactions instead of saying that would have been, it's microtransactions akin to the skins from Borderlands 2, except you don't have to grind for them, is how he should have sold that stuff. Instead, he went on a giant rant saying how they're not microtransactions and the media's out to get him, which is a bad stance to take.
Here's my belief, okay, about Borderlands 3. 2K should just find somebody to be the public face of Gearbox right now.
So here's the issue, and I think where I don't know if I'm against that. It's the logistics side of, be honest here, the issue for Gearbox is everyone else who could have been a public face that people knew are no longer there. It could have been a Mikey Newman.
Right.
It could have been some of these other people that you knew and they were related to even to 2 other games. They're all gone.
Right. But they could have just put anybody, right, to be the spokesperson.
Like the creative director they've thrown out a few times now actually seems decent.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead, you have Randy Pitchford, who...
Is a very divisive figure, we'll call him. I think is a fair term. He
Yes,
reminds me
but
of like
he's...
a Peter Molyneux in the sense of like he
Yeah.
has like a hype behind him or an understand behind him, but he says very divisive things.
He has a hype, but he kind of shoots himself in the foot sometimes with stuff he says.
Right, like this was a perfect example of you could have found a way to spin this to not be horrible, but somehow you made it worse.
Yeah, he should definitely... If they don't do... if they didn't have a creative director take over, they should definitely write out what Randy needs to say. Because I guarantee you, he's just getting up there and winging it.
I think he needs a
And
John
that's the
Kelly,
problem.
like with his Twitter feed.
Dude, they need something, because yeah, he's a Molyneux where he will overhype.
But he's also a Molyneux in the sense of he could have an amazing moment or an amazing game, but he's a Molyneux in the sense of it's the problem with the creative genius. He once in a while will have the moment of genius, and then there'll be other times he'll be like, shut up.
Also, I think a part of what's going on is he's feeling the pressure.
Because this game is probably make or break for Gearbox as a whole. I bet you it'll probably in the end be fine, but I bet you in the moment.
I can almost guarantee 2K's looking at this and going, okay,
This better work.
if it doesn't live up to Borderlands 2, it's seen as a failure. Because as a studio, you always want a sequel to be more popular.
Mm-hmm. Especially because Borderlands 2 was such a success.
Right. And Gearbox has produced absolute dog shit since,
They've only
and had some
produced-
legal battles.
They've only produced one game since, right?
No, there were 2.
Is it Alien? I thought Aliens was pre-Borderlands 2. Was it after?
When did Borderlands 2 come out?
2012. You could be right. I thought it was.
It may have been the same year.
Aliens Colonial Marines 2013.
Or was it
It was 3 months
2013?
later.
Yeah.
Which is funny. It's go such a 180.
Yeah. So there's definitely pressure on him to drive the company in a certain direction and deliver on a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which could be very interesting, considering the second story out of them is Claptrap has a different voice actor,
Which is sad.
because apparently they didn't want to pay the guy that originally did the voice. Which, from everything that I've heard, he essentially did it for free.
Yeah.
He was working at Gearbox at the time, and he decided to voice Claptrap for fun.
Which, to be fair, my understanding is most people at Gearbox voice something for fun. So I don't think he was exclusive.
Right.
I think he just became a bigger deal.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is it became a big deal. He left Gearbox between Borderlands 2 and now, which is 7 years. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they have a huge fat check from Epic, they're like, no, we don't want to pay what you're asking for you to voice Claptrap.
Which is, especially because, let's be honest here, he's probably, what is he really asking? Probably, like, relatively, he's probably not getting asked to pay something stupid.
Right, it's not like he's
not asking for Troy Baker money here, I probably bet.
right. He's not Troy Baker. Or he's not Sam Jackson in which GTA was it? San Andreas or was it 4?
San Andreas.
Yeah. So it's not a big name Hollywood actor coming into your game.
He's probably like, feed me, give me $100 and I'll do the goddamn voice for a
Right.
day.
So there's just it's such a shit show, right? Like,
Which is,
obviously video game studios are a shit show in general.
mm-hmm.
Which we'll talk about with the Mortal Kombat story, and honestly, it seems to be more of a shit show than current TV and movie. Obviously, TV and movie studios used to be a complete shit show in the 70s and 80s, but now that everybody's union and they work on 4 different things at a time, and productions last 2 years, right? So they're always doing something different. There's less commotion usually that you hear of from those. Sans like a Jared Leto delivering pig's head to everyone. But yeah, it's just video game studios.
What do you want to
Unions need to exist in creative fields for the only reason that people can't be expected to work 90-hour weeks.
So I'm gonna make this stance. It's gonna be the funny from the sense of I don't know in game unions in the sense of like what you picture as like a union in the same way as can work in the sense of unionizing like tech is stupid hard for a lot of reasons, obviously. And I still think so. To me, there's an argument to be made for the unionization of the sense of it's the Jason Schreier argument of not unionization in the sense of like we need a SAG-AFTRA. It's unionization in the sense of like here at this shop we guarantee you the minimum worker pay is $45K. Like that type of I'm much more opening to the discussion. I think I get more annoyed when the union talks start from an extreme and no one's willing to budge and like actually have a discussion in the matter. So
well, and here's the thing, right? Like they don't need SAG-AFTRA.
Right.
I mean, some of the writers might like if they're
if they're like
professional
writers,
writers,
I think it's different than
you're
like
part
a
of
programmer's
SAG-AFTRA. Yeah. Or you're part of the Writers Guild. But like, I don't know if you know how it works on TV and movie sets, but there's like 18 different unions represented.
It's per
because
thing.
There's a union for sound. There's a union for lights. There's a union for the grips. There's a union for the actors. There's a union for, well, some directors are and some aren't, but, you know, everybody working on a set is union, more or less. So if they looked at it that way of like, okay, we're going to have an artists union. We're going to have a programmers union. Like that position where there's multiple unions, I think you could get to work because there's the model. I think we need to look at it what we define as what a union does in that equation. And my perfect example is, and someone gave this analogy, and I feel like you've heard it before too, is the thing that makes film, the one thing which we're going to say blindly makes film easier than making games is you know what a camera looks like, you know what a camera does. In games, we reinvent the camera every single time. And that's all the game's issue become is we don't know from the beginning how long this thing will take. That's why games' budgets just don't really form for the longest time. Because in a film, I could go, this is a $100 million film because I know this takes $20K, I know this takes $10 million, I know this, and this. I don't know that in games in the same way in the beginning. Well, but, I mean, we'll talk about it later, but think about Avatar, right? Mm-hmm. They were going into that, and they literally reinvented the camera. That one,
and that's an example. They did reinvent the camera, and that's also a good example of James Cameron. Also, it was also James Cameron was like, "I'm spending more money than I'm supposed to," and the studio accepted it because it's James Cameron, not just because it was anyone.
Right. So, I mean, there's definitely stances where you could do that, but I mean, yeah, people shouldn't be subjected to what they are in some of these studios.
So I'm also gonna make a thing is I think part of the problem I think I started having is when people talking about union talks started, you know, like when me and you were discussing like off thing, like we would just be like inherently a human conversation is you exaggerate, like that's just like instead of 20 hours you say 25 hours or 30 hours, like just get a point across, right? And I think to me the NetherRealm story we're gonna jump into here kind of does that in a way where I'm very concerned about what is true versus what is false. Like what is not false as in lying, false as in exaggerations. Like the claim is that people at NetherRealms have worked 80 to 100 hour weeks consistently. Do you understand how long 100 hour weeks actually is?
Yes, and that's because my dad at one point was working 105 hour weeks.
My point is it didn't. I'm not saying it didn't happen 1 or 2 weeks. I do not believe that a human being was working this for 6 months straight and being okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a person do it,
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way
The
that
burnout
the
is
entire
real,
studio
like-
was doing this for years.
right.
Hundreds of people,
Like
and no
I can
one said
definitely
anything.
see.
I can see
yeah.
a week or two, or maybe a
Well,
month.
But remember back when Red Dead 2 was coming out,
Mm-hmm.
and there was the comment from one of the writers.
About 100
I
hours.
think it was one of the Hauser brothers.
Yeah.
That they worked 100-hour weeks, a couple 100-hour weeks.
Mm-hmm.
For some people,
They want to.
they want to, and that drives them.
But also,
And-
did you remember, and during the said Rockstar story also, so some of the QA testers were claiming they worked 100 weeks. And then the issue became is, then Rockstar did an internal audit of like hours working, and they said the average QA employee worked 45-hour weeks. They said, yes, some employees worked the high end of it, but the point was we were using the statistics of the few to define what the many were doing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the problems become with this discussion. I go, guys, I'm not saying there's problems, but like, let's not try to lie, because then it makes it worse when people find out either you're lying or exaggerating.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously these things will be figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And I say a solid will because if they don't, I think this industry is screwed.
But it's also it's this interesting thing of, I think there's more issues with the industry than that also. I think another industry
Yeah.
issue becomes like, I'm gonna say it, games prices need to go up also. And like, there's a lot of stuff
Oh,
in this
yeah.
industry of like, people are like, no, they don't. I'm like, all of you are stupid. Like, they do. And I think it's like, we're just seeing a bunch of these little pieces that like need to be solved, and that's causing all of the problems together.
Yeah, I think if game prices don't go up,
Like, this next generation, the games need to be $70. Like, period, end of story.
they need to be $100 realistically.
Well,
I
but
mean,
to be honest, like, from a, like, without, like, keeping a people, it needs to be 70 or $80. I think is what games need to be.
yeah.
On a blind
Well,
number.
you know what they're going to go? They're just going to go to subscription model. So it's going to be $20 a month. And you get,
Which, if I remember, we all hated that.
you know, you get the EA access for $20 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the, you know, so you'll be buying effectively a game a month in subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's, you know, if they do it that way, if they go to this subscription, which I want to talk about the all digital Xbox, remind me about that
Okay.
when this is done. But we need to go to a subscription model at the very least if game prices don't go up. Because subscription models, like it or not, get money for a studio or for a developer or for a company.
I've heard mixed things, but I'll mostly agree with you.
Well, I mean, you take the Netflix case, which we'll talk about Netflix in a minute. The Netflix case is they figure even the most, I don't know, what would you call it? The most in-depth watchers, right? Of people watching everything on the service or leaving Netflix running 24/7. The few people that actually do that are outweighed significantly by the people that pay the $11 a month, watch one show, you know, for a week or two,
And then forget about it.
keep the subscription because they don't want to deal with the hassle of canceling subscription, then signing up again for the next show. So that's 2-3 months of free income basically to Netflix. And the Netflix thing is weird because they just keep taking debt out to develop projects.
That's called Silicon Valley more than anything else.
Well, I think it's the Midwesterner in me that says
Don't do that, you dumb bitch.
if you just take on debt for your projects, you're screwed.
Which I mostly agree with you. And then somehow there are these mystical companies that still exist for some odd reason.
Netflix should not exist.
It shouldn't. But okay, so to me, and I'm curious, I don't know.
Like
these
just
numbers-
numbers wise, Netflix should not exist.
No, and I
That's
agree
what
with
I'm
you. So
saying. Not like
here's the thing I don't know, because my example is I know Amazon and Tesla both do this. can Netflix tomorrow stop all production and become profitable? Because that was the thing with Amazon for years. Is the reason they were still able to get investors is because at any point they were able to shut the spigot and become profitable on the dime.
I don't know if they are.
But I don't know if they are there. That's what's interesting to me because that's the whole Tesla and Amazon thing is they both literally can go profitable, not profitable, literally by flicking a switch, and every investor knows that, which is why they're safe investments.
I get what you mean, but for me personally, I don't think an electric car is a solid investment yet.
I think Tesla. The reason I think Tesla is different than Nissan doing or whatever is because they understand. I think they understand the feel of like what is the important points of a car more than it being electric. Where I think the other motor people trying to make electric cars don't have that like attitude, and also I think Tesla from a tech like from a presentation end, it's the Apple. They know what presentation is.
That's what Tesla does. Tesla does a presentation. Their cars, the interiors suck ass. The tech is pretty cool.
The tech's cool. I know we disagree on the interiors, but I think we both agree like from a tech end, Tesla is basically king.
But they, I don't know. They're just for the price that you're paying and what you're getting, they're too expensive. For now.
And I think we're both watching their prices drop at least over time decently. So I'm be curious in 5 years from now if this conversation is completely different.
The new Audi e-tron looks to be the first real Tesla competitor.
Yeah, because like Nissan Leaf is not a Tesla competitor, for example.
No, its range was absolutely terrible, which makes sense. It was a tiny car, so you can only fit so many batteries.
But at the same time, like the way me and you both drive, we can't have cars that have like 100-mile to 200-mile capacity on them. We just can't.
I could do it if where I worked had a charging point.
Right, but that's see,
right
like,
now. But
that's my issue.
yeah.
Like, in general, like no, like especially because I deal with rush hour traffic too. I can't have a car at 200 because I'll be cutting it too damn close.
Well, no, you won't because it's electric, so you only use the power.
Right, but it's still the
when you're accelerating.
Like my round trip to work and back is like 50 something miles. So like if I want to go, I can't go out. Like there's nothing, I can't do anything else that day.
You would be able to.
It's pushing it. It's pushing it to the point where I don't want to push it.
Well, and I think I get what you mean because you're coming from a gas mentality of you're wasting gas while you're sitting still. Whereas an electric car, you're not wasting really any electricity sitting still. I mean, obviously you're wasting this stuff for your
but also like
AC and stuff like
so
that.
maybe I agree with you, but there's still some line of like in the winter, for example, and I know they don't lose the same amount. Like winter, if all of a sudden that gets cut in half because it's -10 outside, I'm screwed.
Right. Yeah.
Then
yeah, definitely.
Then it's a good example of I am screwed.
But you know, having a charge point at both ends is super important.
That's a way different story.
But yeah, what did I say I told you to remind me of? I even forgot about it.
You told me to remind you of a thing.
Yep. Somebody will tweet at us during when the episode goes up. Hey, why don't you talk about this? Yeah, I forget what it was.
I have no clue.
But yeah, things that we watched and played.
Do you want me to go first?
I just want to get. Yeah, I'm just going through the list, so we'll do that, and then we'll come back around to news.
Okay.
Something cool happened this past week.
What's that?
I got ranked in Forza Horizon 4.
Okay, so what does that mean? Is it the same as like any other like competitive game where they're like, you're silver, you're bronze, your penis is 2 inches, like the normal nonsense?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of. Because the current thing they're doing with Forza Horizon 4, I don't know if they're doing it for 3. I think they said they were going to.
Why would they go back?
Oh, the all digital Xbox One. That
was it. That's a good way to
thing.
tie it in. Gone.
That's $250, by the way.
Which is too expensive.
And you get Forza Horizon 3, which is
which they
2.5
own the
years
goddamn
old.
studio. Just give them 4. It's not like you're
Right.
paying someone, you own them.
And then there was 2 other games, but they were Sea of Thieves was one of them.
So to me,
and
that
something
thing needs
else.
to be 200 or less. 200, I think I would be in a different boat of. I think that was a good price. 250 is too much.
250 is way too much.
Because if I was them, you don't need to make a profit on that sucker. You need to break even on it, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Because your whole shtick is
You're gonna make
selling
a
Game
ton of
Pass.
money on
All
that,
you care
yeah.
about is Game Pass for that sucker. You don't care about selling games at all. That is your Game Pass device.
Yeah.
If you do it $200, $150, put it in everyone's homes, be like, and you know what you do at that point too? If you have an Xbox, whatever this version is called, Game Pass is $1 less a month. Great. There's your profit margin.
Yeah. So anyway, they do this thing called series,
Okay.
which is 4 weeks make up one series, and each week is a different season. So if you don't know, Forza Horizon 4, they have all 4 seasons in the game. In previous Horizon games, winter was a DLC. Mm-hmm. And
I know it was DLC.
Yeah. 3 was its own island. 2 was... I forget what it was. I haven't played 2 in so long. Anyway, so the seasons are part of the game. So each week is a season. And there's certain events in the series for that week that to do towards getting... So they changed the way the car pass works,
Okay.
which the car pass is the DLC, like the extra cars. It used to be you got them in chunks, and they did DLC packs,
Okay.
and you got those packs. They went away from that, and instead did cars through the series.
Okay.
So at 50% completion, you got a reward, which is usually a car. And then it used to be at 90%, but they backed it to 80. You got another reward, which was usually another car. And so everything you did was towards that progress bar. So there was a season progress bar and a series progress bar. So you could get 75% in all 4 series, or all 4 seasons, but you wouldn't hit that 80% series mark because you didn't get 80% of everything for the series. And at the end of the list, they have 2 things that carry over from week to week throughout the series, and that's a hot lap race, so your fastest lap, and then it's getting ranked for online, qualifying for the series, ranked for the 4 weeks. And so I had never done the ranked because that required you to play the either team or solo adventures, which are kind of boring if you don't have anybody else that you know playing with you,
Oh, I could see that.
because it's like best 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5.
And you're just kind of
Stuff.
chilling.
Well, and it's just, if you're playing unranked, what you had to do, you had to level up your progress in that to level 3 to unlock ranked. So each result you got XP, and that went towards the progress bar of getting to level 3, and then you got to 3, and then you got to ranked. Well, then once you get to ranked, you need to do 10 adventures. And adventures are either 3 or 5 event things. And so you either have to win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 to win the series, to win the adventure. And so I went through the 10 finally just to get myself ranked and to get the rewards from this series for the first time hitting the 80%. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go through this and I'm going to get to League 20 and then have to work my way up from there, which is what I was expecting, right? You go through ranked and you start at the bottom and work your way up. So I did my 10th series, That finished, then a thing came up that it went from unranked to ranked for my level. And instead of 20, it put me at 17. So apparently I did well enough in the qualifiers to completely skip 20, 19, and 18. And I'm like 2/3 of the way through 17. And I like racing games, but I'm not super great at them. So I don't know how in the hell I jumped that many people. Because, and like, I wasn't even like, I wasn't getting sweaty to do these races. I was just like fucking around with them and trying to finish. So yeah, I got up to 17. I'm like, shit. Because at each tier you get rewards. And I didn't care what tier I got. I could have gone in there and just idled for the 3 to 5 events just to get ranked. But yeah, I got to 17, so that was fun. I'm never going to play ranked again except to do the qualifiers. So, yeah.
So do you feel like something like this? Because, like, to me, the rank stuff, I've always been like, yeah, whatever. Did it actually add enjoyment to your game, or are you just like, well, it's there?
Well, because it's an entirely separate thing, like, my rank is completely separate to my progress throughout the game. I don't care about it a lot, because I only did it to get the rewards. Because that's where I'm at with that game, is checking in every day to get my one skill that I have to do that goes towards the progress bar, and then shutting it down. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't really care. I was more surprised at the fact that I shot to 17 instead of, like, I was doing pretty well. I think I won like 7 of the 10. Like, okay, like it's a high 20, low 19, right? No, I was 2/3 of the way through 17. I was like, shit. A lot of people must suck for me to get this high.
I'm glad you're confident in yourself.
Forza Horizon is a very interesting game, I'll put it that way.
I like you didn't use the word good. You just said interesting.
Well, it's a great game. It's just the stuff they're doing for 4 is so much different to what they did for 3.
Do you think it's interesting because it's the games as a service, but like racing games, I feel like have been inherently doing this forever, just no one paid attention to it.
The hardcore fans in racing games will always play the game.
But also,
and they'll play it until the new one comes out.
But like games of service, I feel like racing games are doing like a games of service idea forever. We just never called it then that. Because live events.
Well, if you want to be realistic about it, the games as a service has existed since iRacing started in the late 90s. So games as a service is nothing new. So... And yeah, racing games are... It's funny. Racing games are the video game equivalent of porn to the movie industry. Because racing games are always... Well, nobody talks about them, and they're always the first with the new tech.
Okay, I'm okay with that argument. I'll give you it.
Or like the tech that they adopt is usually the one that becomes the standard. So porn accepted VHS, that became the standard. Porn went to DVD,
became the standard.
Porn went to Blu-ray, that became the standard. Like everything that the porn industry went to is what just became standard.
Which is very interesting to think about it.
It is, but it isn't when you start to look at sales. Obviously, the internet has screwed everything over because now it's the tech that they're investing in is VR and resolution tech, and it's not physical media formats. But yeah, it used to be, like video stores, right? They would buy the movies to rent out, And when they bought their porn movies that they had a section for, they usually would buy whatever media they were on for the rest of their movies. Because then it's one standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 18 different standards, right? So it's not VHS, Betamax, whatever else was on tape. Like, porn is on VHS, everybody else wants a VHS. Except for studios, TV studios. They all used Betamax. And in fact, some of them still do. Yep.
Okay. So that is Forza. One of the things I saw, which I thought was very interesting, was on Netflix. It's by a Canadian studio, but still on American Netflix. They did a documentary on For Honor, which I thought was very interesting. It was all about the lead developer, Jason Vanderbilt, who I've met a few times at GDC. He's a very interesting and unique guy. It's very interesting. He just went through, like, how did this game come to be, and, like, it's always been his dream to make it, and, like, just his emotional cycle of going through the game and, like, what it's like to, like, let your game into the world and, like, watch it become something that by the end he could not be part of anymore because it was away from his vision, even though it was better for the game. And it's this very interesting tale of that.
Yeah, is that the studio that Eric Pope works at?
Ubisoft. This is Ubisoft Montreal.
Where he used to work at? One of the guys that the Giant Bomb family is friends with and does the...
Eric Pope is from Montreal, so maybe.
Does the... well, it was Eric Pope and... what's his name? Did the video game wrestling.
Yeah. I'm Mr. Pope on Twitter. I know who Eric Pope is.
Well, but those two guys, one of them worked with For Honor.
I
can't remember if it was Pope or...
but it's very interesting, though. I just thought of, like, because Jason Van was a very interesting person, and it was very, like, watching him, like, go through the cycle of, like, what it's like to, like, make your dream game, and then over time, like, know it's no longer yours, like, letting it go, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think that was what's very interesting about that story. It's also funny because half of it's in French, so obviously I didn't understand part of it. But I think it was a very cool documentary just going through this journey of, like, watching a major studio. Also, there's a thing in there which I didn't realize that Ubisoft did, which I think is interesting, is Ubisoft greenlit what they define as a small team, which is like 40 people. They do a bunch of them, and then they each get like 6 months to make a game, and then they do every year they basically do an annual retreat into Paris, and then basically the executive team like greenlits a couple games from this list, and the rest of them get canceled.
Yeah. I mean, they seem like the most interesting of the main
publishers.
Outside of like some of the stuff Sony does, but
yeah,
I think that's more of the Japanese culture kind of disappearing in that company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also watched Too Funny to Fail, which did we talk about that ever?
I don't know if we ever did.
Okay, so Too Funny to Fail is the documentary on Hulu about the Dana Carvey show. So Dana Carvey, I don't know. Do you know who Dana Carvey is?
Yeah. And then he did an improv show.
That's the Dana Carvey show.
Didn't last a very long, right?
It lasted 8 episodes. Actually, no, it lasted 7. They didn't premiere the 8th. So this is what's insane about this show. So Dana Carvey, to put in perspective, said Bill Hader, they interviewed a lot too. He did a great perspective. He goes, put in perspective, I was on SNL for 8 years when Bill Hader left, okay? Bill Hader, I think it was in the New York Times, got a 2-paragraph thing, right? Saying he left, here's his bio. Dana Carvey got a 2-page, and it was the front 2 pages of the New York Times, explaining how upsetting people were when he left. To put in perspective how big of a deal Dana Carvey was.
Well, I mean, it would be like, the thing of it is, right, Dana Carvey is to SNL what, like, Sandler was.
Yeah, like, I don't think I realized how important Dana Carvey was.
Hader
was good. Hader, I think, is one of the modern greats. Modern. And I'm putting that kind of, like, the last 10 years, Hader's one of the best.
But think about it this way, right? When was the last time people were like, "Oh yeah, this is a great SNL cast"?
I think the 2000
15 years
See,
ago.
okay, so I'm gonna give an argument. I don't think it's the great cast. I think the 2010 to like 2012 class, which still included Bill Hader, it still included. God, I could picture the guy in my head.
Amy Poehler, Keenan Thompson. That may have been his first year there.
It pictured. Oh God,
Seth Meyers, Jimmy Fallon.
I think Jimmy Fallon is about the way out to this point. Will Forte was on. Fred Armisen was still here. Jason Sudeikis, who I was thinking of. Like you have this group of like this still really. I think that was still a really strong group.
Yeah.
And you can even see what they've done since then to see that they actually were a decently strong group as a whole.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think that's the last super strong SNL cast personally.
yeah. Well, like when Carvey was on SNL, SNL was must-see TV.
That's true. So this is my favorite thing about it. So Dana Carvey then decided he wanted to do a small stage sketch show. So he did this whole shtick of, okay, let's go to the different networks, and eventually ABC, who just got bought by Disney, by the way, which is what I'm about to explain, makes it 1,000% funny, okay? Dana Carvey hires lead writer who's an old SNL guy. His second writer in command, an unknown comedian by the name of Louis C.K. His two main people he hired as writers such main stars, unknown comedians named Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell. They didn't hire Jimmy Fallon because Louis C.K. thought he was too much of a fuckboy and threatened to quit. Can you process what I just said of the list of people that Dana Carvey's career he started?
Well, who's the other one that like? There's another person that you looked at their cast list and it was like, okay.
But again, it's this insane thing. And I forget too that like Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell were like both Second City boys who were like broke at the time.
Yeah.
And the thing about like where they are now, and like even to this day, they're like Dana Carvey made our career. So like without Dana Carvey, we'd be nobody. Okay, so the opening picture. This is you ready for the opening skit of the show, prime time on ABC after Home Improvement. So you know exactly what Home Improvement is, right? The family-friendly show. Opening skit, okay? Picture this. This is like when there's Bill and Hillary Clinton stuff of like the rumors of the affair is going on. So the opening skit is Dana Carvey dressed as Bill Clinton explaining how Hillary's not good image for the country, so I've locked her in a closet. And you go to footage of Hillary Clinton trying to escape the closet, okay? He's then explaining how he could be motherly like a mother for this country to let us heal. So then they decided to put on Dana Carvey, put 8 fake breasts with working milk pumps on them. So then he started taking babies to then drink from his breast if he could feed the country. And the skit involved like taking cats who could feed from him, taking little puppies to feed from him. And that's the entire shtick of the opening skit of the show. After Home Improvement, they said so it was at the time the CEO of ABC was like he was doing minute by the minute ratings, like so you could see when stuff. Legitimately, they lost 95% of their audience. 6 million people turned the show off within 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the reason they did that is because it's called a tentpole. So you have Home Improvement, you had the slot there, and then your 11 o'clock news.
But think about like how actually astronomical insane that is.
Oh, I totally get it. But the thing of it is, Dana Carvey, now, looking back on his stuff, it isn't as funny as I thought it was when I first watched it.
It depends on the thing.
Like Wayne's World?
Wayne's World is okay. It doesn't hold up.
Yeah, not as funny as I thought it was.
The thing is, though,
Master of Disguise, a hell of a lot worse than I thought it was.
So the thing I think with Wayne's World, which becomes interesting to me, is Wayne's World back then was unknown comedy, where now I feel like every comedian tries to be that type of comedy, so it's not this like unique thing anymore.
Yeah.
And because think about how many millennial comedians now are doing the "I'm not funny, I'm really weird," which is funny thing.
There's too many. It's just I don't like that style of comedy.
I don't either. That's my issue with a lot of the modern stuff. I'm like, I don't get that style.
The only person that I like that style is Eric Andre.
I'm here or there on Eric Andre. I understand the
Because
moments where he's
he
funny,
goes so far.
but I think Eric Andre is also making fun of that style.
Yeah, oh, he is, because he goes so far.
Like we all know the Eric Andre meme,
Which one?
the one where someone gets shot and they keep shooting them.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to talk about the one where it's the fence and he's shaking on it to
Oh yeah.
let me in. So yeah, is that everything you've...
Yeah, that's all my big stuff.
So yeah, let's get back into the news. The Vive Index was... The pre-orders are up.
Can we discuss that name?
You can.
Do you like it?
I don't know why it would... I don't know why they called it that. I don't know why they didn't call it something different.
I don't know, Index to me just feels like my issues becomes a relatively generic of a name to me.
It makes me wonder if this, like, the Index is the first of a set of headsets.
Yeah, that is true. That name does make it feel like you go Index and then you start like naming it based upon positions.
Yeah. So there's a couple tier prices. All in, it's $1,000, which isn't much more than what my Vive was.
It isn't, but I still think it's the sense of, and I know it's Valve, but in the sense of we're putting a new, relatively unknown in this space.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the price concerns me.
That being said, the tech appears to be Vive, or I wrote Vive on the sheet. It's the Valve Index.
Vive.
The Vive Pro screens are maybe a little bit even worse than what the Index is going to be. And the Index is $400 cheaper than the Pro. And it's using the new Pro base stations and the new controllers. Whereas the Pro was using, obviously, a new headset and new base stations, but the same Vive controllers. So, yeah, and there's tiers. There's the headset and controllers, if you already have base stations. There's just the headset. There's just the controllers and just the base stations. Which, like, for me, I would just get the headset. I mean, I might get the headset and controllers, but because I already have the base stations, I don't need the base stations.
So that's what, $750?
Yeah, $750 for the headset and controllers. Which, when you think about it, isn't terrible.
I don't think it's terrible. My concern just becomes, so what's interesting to me is, like, in theory, as generations, the rapidness of the VR generations are going, they should be becoming cheaper and not more expensive. And that's what I think also is concerning me a bit.
I think the thing of it is this Index is...
The highest of ends.
Yeah, it's the highest end thing, so it's going to be the most expensive, or one of the most expensive, because it's reaching at, you know,
but to me,
the bleeding edge, not even the cutting edge, the bleeding edge of this tech.
My concern is right now, so the middle, which I think the middle is about to be, has become the Oculus Quest, which I think what the middle should become. And my concern is if everyone keeps fighting their way to the top and then suffocating each other, that we want some people at the top to push it up, but I don't think we're, like, helping.
Yeah. Well, there's no... I mean, Oculus is going to have the middle sector.
Because I think the Quest is a good middle, especially by all accounts of how it works.
Like, there's no competition really in the middle. Like, those Windows mixed reality things are okay. And, you know, all the phone stuff is cheaper. So that low end of the phone-based VR is going to get swallowed up. you know, Samsung and Google and, well, the Oculus is basically just a Samsung, but they're the ones that are going to make it out of that. Then the Quest is going to sit nicely in the middle where there's no Vive competitor, because the Vive and like the original Oculus are a tier above that, and then you have the Index, the Vive Pro, and the
Oculus, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, the Oculus Pro, whatever they call it.
I think there's a better name, but yeah, it's the Oculus Pro.
So yeah, VR is definitely going to be an interesting area in the next, I'd say, 3 to 5 years.
Which again, people like it's dead. I don't think it's dead. I just think it's this interesting thing of I think they're fighting in the wrong verticals.
Well,
Personally.
and I think the thing of it is people aren't hearing anything, but like from all accounts, PSVR sold incredibly well.
For what it is, because even if you even hear like Shuei Yoshida, who is in charge of first place, even like the way he was talking about it, like based on internal projections, like they knew what they were doing. Of like, we know this is going to sell 50 million units, but we like that's not a goal right now.
Yeah.
Or even you have stuff like HoloLens 2 is coming out, which I know is AR and MR, but it's an interesting thing of like even Microsoft isn't giving up in this space in this way you think like where Google Glass was giving up. So this makes me feel like those companies are being very still interested in it. And
Yeah.
there has to be a reason they are. There has to be a reason, or they would have given up by now.
Yeah. I think there may have been some companies that would stick it to the end just to
Yeah, but like if
say they never died.
But like if you're HTC, I don't know if I would have.
Well, HTC doesn't have anything. Like, they got rid of their phones, they got rid of their computers. Like,
It's true.
the Vive was
HTC.
HTC.
Which is funny because everyone used to consider the Vive the Valve headset, ironically enough, and now there is a Valve headset.
Yeah. And I mean, Valve does, when they do hardware,
How upset do you think HTC was when they found out?
I don't think they cared at all.
But like you knew that like the way the Vive was advertised was it was the Valve. It wasn't Valve, but like everyone treated it as the Valve headset. Like it was the
Yeah.
Steam integration
I mean,
was built in. You had all of that.
think of it this way, right? Like, if you're HTC, you got all the sales for the Vive and the Vive Pro. So people already have that hardware in their house.
Mm-hmm.
And now Valve releases a headset where they can use that hardware. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could. You know, they may even sell the original base stations that are going to be cheaper. And then, you know, have people pick and choose. Like, okay, you're going to get the Index headset with the controllers, but then you're getting the Gen 1 base stations. And you could save, you know, $100. Or if you already have the Gen 1 base stations, like I do, you're saving, I think it's 150 or 200 for the base stations.
Mm-hmm.
I had mentioned that we were going to get back to Netflix, and it's because there was a story between the two shows, I can't remember exactly that the reason you see a lot of the Netflix shows that get canceled after their second season and not sticking around for a third is because after a third season, once a show enters its third season, royalties get very interesting.
So by who describes this rule? Like, is it a Netflix rule?
No, this is the royalty checks? This is a SAG rule.
Okay.
So in their contracts, it's if you're on a syndicated show, your royalties get paid on every time an episode airs.
Yes, how does that work with Netflix? I've always wondered how that works with Netflix.
It's probably just a lower amount.
But they still probably do some level of...
Yeah.
Because my assumption is it's based how Spotify works is similar way of, like from the subscription end, they say we're gonna say $10 for easy math. Netflix goes $6 is actors royalties or whatever royalties, and then we just divide of how many get what based on viewership.
Right. So yeah, like, the average. Well, I guess Seinfeld, in a weird way, is the easiest show to use
Because
they continually have these giant
so is Friends.
syndication deals.
Friends is too.
Friends isn't $1 billion every time it gets renewed.
It's something around there though.
It's close. Well, I think at the end, the Friends actors were making $1 million an episode.
Yeah, they were the first times
But-
that a show did groups like that together. They said everyone has to be paid the same. They're notorious for the first show to do that.
Yeah. But so, like, Seinfeld, let's just take their first $1 billion thing, right? So, what that meant was, it's not like Jerry Seinfeld got his chunk right up. It was that $1 billion is going to be spread across
10 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it was 10 years. So, every time an episode airs that you are credited in, you get a check for whatever that would be. Mm-hmm. And the reason they had a dollar amount attached to that deal is because they had a plan. Mm-hmm. They knew exactly how many times that show was going to air.
Because most networks were like, they fought for a slot and they'd keep that slot forever.
Right, so it's
going
going to be...
Seinfeld. Seinfeld consistently does ratings.
Right.
Even to this day.
So, Netflix is like, well, screw this. Like, if we've got a failing show...
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye after the second season. Like, there's no way we're making a third
Which
because
is
we're not going to pay
interesting.
you guys.
That explains why most Netflix shows at least get a second season even if they suck. Wasn't the rule forever was Netflix had the 2-season rule, basically?
Well, yeah, and there's so many problems with Netflix that we could do an entire podcast on what I believe Netflix should change, but like an entire podcast series, not just a show. There's a lot of problems there that they need to change, and if they do, or if they keep their stance, I could see the way we consume media to change in the next 10 years in an extreme fashion. Yeah. We'll do this last story, and then the other stuff we'll include in our Endgame talk.
Okay.
Sad note to the end of the first half of this episode.
I'm sorry, I was trying
Yeah.
to do my expression.
Peter Mayhew passed away at, what was it, 71?
74.
74? And I was talking to my parents about this, and I'm like, I'm honestly surprised he lived that long, because tall people generally don't
You guys didn't
live
have a problem or
super
whatever?
long. I don't remember what it was, but like,
thought-
just in general, like, the taller you are, the shorter you live.
That's true. I thought there was something. He was abnormally tall, and I thought he had some genetic thing.
He may have. Like, Andre the Giant had a tumor in his brain that caused his
Growth.
the growth hormone to continually be released. And he died from a massive heart attack because of that.
He was super young also. Not this, but he was super young.
46.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, obviously a somber end to the end of this first half of the episode. And now there will be 2 tributes at the end of whatever the fuck episode 9 is called.
Rise of Skywalker. Not the Skywalker, Skywalker.
Sure. Whatever.
Which is very interesting that they purposely did not put the... Which makes me...
Star Wars is stupid. Let's end this first half.
Oh, God. Why did you say that out loud?
You know it is.
I'm not commenting. I refuse to comment.
Star Wars is stupid. You can have fun watching it. It's just stupid. Like,
God.
yeah. So if you don't want Endgame spoilers, Obviously, your episode is going to end here in a very short time. But for those that have seen Endgame or don't give a shit about spoilers, second half of the show will be coming right up with that talk. But here's an ad.